CSL is now trading near its cheapest level in a decade. The share price has fallen hard, but the business has not disappeared. Revenue is still large, cash flow is still strong, and CSL still owns one of the biggest plasma networks in the world. So the real question is simple. Is this a rare setup, or is it a value trap? In this video, we will look at CSL through 7 areas: growth, quality, moat, market runway, balance sheet, valuation, and management. Then I will give you my ASX Desk scorecard. Let's get into it.
Before we do though, quick disclaimer. Nothing in this video is financial advice. I'm not a licensed advisor. This is purely educational. Do your own research. Talk to a professional if you need to. All right, let's go.
CSL reported its half-year 26 result on the 11th of February. Total revenue was $8.33 billion. That was down 2% year-on-year. Reported profit was much weaker. Reported NPAT fell to $401 million. That was down 81%. But the underlying number was less severe. Underlying NPAT-A was about $1.95 billion. That was down 7%. So what caused the big gap? CSL booked major restructuring and impairment charges. These charges were linked to its transformation program, Vifor integration, and cost-cutting work. That is why the headline profit looked very bad. But the underlying business held up better than the headline suggested. Here is how CSL makes money. The company has 3 main businesses. The first, and most important, is CSL Behring. This is the plasma therapies business. It makes products like immunoglobulins, albumin, and hemophilia treatments. This segment makes up roughly 2/3 of group revenue. The second business is CSL Seqirus. This is the influenza vaccines business. It is number 2 globally, and CSL plans to spin it out. The third business is CSL Vifor. This focuses on iron deficiency and kidney-related treatments. So the simple version is this. Behring is the core engine. Seqirus is the vaccine business. And Vifor is the specialty pharma growth option. Let's make the plasma business easy to understand. Step 1. CSL collects plasma from donors. Step 2. The plasma is tested, screened, and frozen. Step 3. It goes through fractionation. That means CSL separates the useful proteins inside the plasma. Step 4. Those proteins are manufactured into therapies. Step 5. The finished products are delivered to hospitals, doctors, and patients around the world. This is not a simple business. Plasma is highly regulated. It needs collection centers, manufacturing plants, quality controls, and global distribution. That is why the moat is so important. It would take years and billions of dollars to replicate this system. Category 1 is growth. CSL has 3 different growth models. Behring is the recurring script business. Many patients need these therapies for chronic immune or bleeding disorders. That means demand can repeat year after year. Seqirus is more seasonal. Flu vaccine demand depends on annual vaccination cycles, policy, and flu season strength. Vifor is the specialty pharma business. It focuses on iron deficiency and kidney disease treatments. Over the last 5 years, CSL's revenue growth looks strong. But we need to be careful. Part of that growth came from buying Vifor. Organic growth is more modest, closer to mid-single digits. Still solid, but not as clean as the headline growth number suggests. This chart shows the key issue. Revenue has grown strongly over the last 5 years, but profit has not grown at the same pace. Vifor lifted revenue after it was consolidated, but operating leverage has been weaker than investors expected. That means CSL has become bigger, but it has not yet become much more profitable in the way bulls hoped. This is one of the biggest questions for the stock. Can margins recover? If Behring margins improve and transformation savings land, the story can improve quickly. But if margins stay weak, the market may stay cautious. Category 2 is quality. The good news is cash conversion has improved. In financial year 25, free cash flow conversion reached 86%. That means a large share of accounting profit turned into real cash. That is important for dividends, debt reduction, and buybacks. But return on invested capital is still not back to its old level. Before the Vifor deal, CSL generated returns above 20%. Today, return on invested capital is closer to 13%. So the quality picture is mixed. Cash flow is strong again, but returns are still recovering. That is why execution matters so much over the next 12 months. Category 3 is Moat. CSL's moat comes from three main areas. First, scale. CSL has more than 300 plasma collection centers. That gives it one of the largest plasma networks in the world. Second, regulation. Plasma therapies are highly regulated by agencies like the FDA and TGA. New competitors cannot simply appear overnight. They need approvals, manufacturing capacity, collection centers, and trust. Third, reliability. Doctors and hospitals need dependable supply for life-saving therapies. That trust is built over decades. So yes, CSL has a wide moat, but it is not risk-free. Gene therapies, pricing pressure, and new delivery methods could all matter over time. Category 4 is market runway. CSL still has multiple growth drivers. The first is plasma volume and price. Demand for immunoglobulin continues to grow, supported by aging populations and better diagnosis. The second is Vifor. CSL wants newer kidney and specialty treatments to offset pressure in older iron products. The third is Seqirus. If the demerger goes ahead, investors may value the vaccine business separately. So the runway is not just one story. It is three layers: plasma growth, Vifor recovery, and potential value from the Seqirus separation. But all three need execution. This slide shows the revenue mix in a simple way. Bearing is the recurring engine. It is the part of CSL that investors usually care about most. If bearing margins improve, the market may regain confidence. Vifor is the fastest growing segment right now. It grew 12% in the half-year result. But it still faces pressure from generic competition in iron products. Seqirus is the catalyst. A standalone ASX listing could unlock value. So the simple takeaway is this: Bearing needs to keep compounding. Vifor needs to prove the acquisition can work. Seqirus needs a clean demerger path. Category 5 is the balance sheet. CSL took on more debt after buying Vifor. That made investors more sensitive to execution risk. But the company has been steadily reducing leverage. Net debt to EBITDA was around 1.8 times in financial year 25. Interest coverage was around 10 times. That suggests the balance sheet is manageable. CSL also authorized a buyback of up to $750 million. That is a signal of confidence from management. But buybacks only create value if the business performance improves. Debt is coming down. Now the company needs earnings momentum to follow. Category 6 is valuation. This is probably the most interesting part of the CSL story. CSL trades at about 13 times enterprise value to EBITDA. That is well below its own 10-year average. The trailing PE ratio is also much lower than investors were used to. Analyst target prices still suggest meaningful upside. But we should not stop there. A cheap multiple does not automatically mean a cheap stock. Sometimes a stock is cheap because the market is wrong. Sometimes it is cheap because the business has changed. That is the key question here. Is CSL being mispriced, or is the market correctly pricing lower growth and higher execution risk? This slide shows how much the market's view has changed. A few years ago, CSL traded at a very high valuation. Investors saw it as a premium healthcare compounder. Today, the multiple is much lower. The enterprise value to EBITDA multiple has fallen to around 13 times. That is a major re-rating. And here is the important point. The share price fall has not only been about earnings. A lot of the damage came from multiple compression. In simple terms, investors are now willing to pay much less for each dollar of CSL earnings. For bulls, that creates opportunity. For bears, it reflects weaker confidence. Category 7 is management. There are two stories here. The first is capital returns. CSL has continued to grow dividends over time. It has also expanded its buyback program. That suggests management still sees value in the stock. The second story is leadership transition. CEO Paul McKenzie is retiring in April 2026. That timing matters. CSL is dealing with a transformation program, a possible Seqirus demerger, and Vifor integration. That is a lot to manage at once. So management is not a disaster, but the transition does add uncertainty. Now, we need to be honest about the risks. Risk 1 is transformation execution. CSL is cutting roles, closing some plasma centers, and trying to deliver major savings. That is complex. Risk 2 is the Seqirus demerger. If the timing slips or flu market conditions weaken, the value unlock may disappoint. Risk 3 is the CEO transition. Leadership changes are normal, but this one comes during a very important period. Risk 4 is Vifor. Iron products face generic pressure, so newer kidney treatments need to perform. Risk 5 is pricing pressure. Healthcare pricing can change, especially in the US market. These risks do not destroy the thesis, but they explain why the stock is trading cheaper than before. So what is the bull case? Bulls argue the core plasma business is still strong. If bearing margins recover, earnings growth can improve higher. They also argue the Seqirus demerger could unlock value, and if confidence returns, the valuation multiple could re-rate higher. Now, the bear case. Bears argue the transformation may not deliver enough savings. They also worry the Seqirus demerger could be delayed, and they worry Vifor's older iron products may decline faster than newer products grow. Both sides have a point. That is why this is not a simple cheap stock story. It is a quality business with real execution risk. Here is my final scorecard. Growth gets 6.5. The business is still growing, but organic growth is not spectacular. Quality gets 7. Cash flow is strong, but returns are still recovering. Moat gets 8. CSL still has a powerful plasma network and strong regulatory barriers. Runway gets 7.5. The market opportunity is still attractive. Balance sheet gets 6.5. Debt is manageable, but the Vifor deal still matters. Valuation gets 8. The stock is clearly much cheaper than before. Management gets 5.5, mostly because of the CEO transition and execution load. Overall score, 7.1 out of 10. My verdict is simple. Quality compounder, execution watch. Here are the 3 things I would watch next. First, the financial year 26 result in August 2026. The key number is Behring's EBIT margin. That will show whether the core plasma business is improving. Second, watch for the Seqirus demerger update. If the listing progresses cleanly, that could support the bull case. Third, watch the half-year 27 result in February 2027. By then, investors should have a better view of whether transformation savings are on track. For me, this is not mainly about one quarter. It is about whether CSL can rebuild operating leverage over the next 12 months. That is what will decide whether this is a setup or a trap. So that was CSL through the ASX Desk framework. CSL is cheaper than it has been in years. But cheaper does not automatically mean easy. The business still has strong assets. The market is waiting for proof that margins, savings, and execution are improving. If this video helped you understand CSL more clearly, please like and subscribe. And leave a comment with the next ASX company you want me to analyze. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.